Hey guys, it's Bob Ferngren. I'm back with another 8-minute call. And I think I'm going to change this to the cheat code. That might be the name of it because truthfully, if you take some of these nuggets and start applying them, putting them together, it's like a cheat code. It gets you there quicker. In other words, this is just me talking, but I think anyone who teaches motivational things or interpersonal skills or leadership skills, they have hopefully have experience in those matters. And so when you learn from someone who's already made the mistakes, gone through the process, that's kind of like a cheat code. I mean, learning is one thing, applying too. So here's the cheat code of the day. It's become a reader. Become a reader. Let me first tell you my personal experience. And this ties together with something you've probably heard. The average American reads less than one book a year. That's the average American. Like the average American is overweight. The average American has no energy. The average American is manifesting chronic diseases, keeping them doctors in the money, right? The average American is also broke. The average American is going nowhere. And they're going there really, really, really fast too, right? So how many books does the average CEO read? I think it's 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 a month. So I hear this like 30 years ago, maybe 35 years ago, maybe longer. And wait a minute, that's kind of a simple thing is what I was thinking. Well, to get ahead, I have to be well read. To get ahead, I have to be well read. And so I started reading. John Maxwell was just coming on the scene when I was, in management, eventually leadership positions. So I was consuming him. I was consuming Stephen Covey, and then, other big time names helping people out. Were coming along. So many names I don't want to take up an 8-minute call. You can just go to the bookstore or go online at Amazon's bookstore and type in self-help or type in communication skills or type in leadership skills or type in interpersonal skills or type in entrepreneurial skill. Anything, right? In that world. And there's now hundreds and hundreds of books and background and things like that. So I started reading, right? So I go from a restaurant guy to someone who starts getting promoted outside of being a general manager of a restaurant. And in that company, I end up becoming the president of the company. You know what I'm doing the whole time? I'm reading. I'm on a personal growth journey. I end up running 4 or 5 other companies as either the president or the CEO. And I kept reading and reading and reading. And eventually I got into entrepreneurialism. Listen, made a lot of mistakes and failed. I could write books on that stuff. But I kept reading and reading and reading. Eventually, excuse me, I got into direct sales, network marketing, affiliate marketing. Because here's something I read. The vast majority of money is in sales. I read that a long time ago. You don't believe it until you run into it. So sales. 90% of the wealth in America, probably the world, is controlled by 10% of the people. And 90% of those people, or the wealth that's made, is, controlled by 10% of the people. And 90% of those people are in sales. It became real simple. Think about it. What does a company need? People to sell their whatevers, their products or their services. So they're the most valuable people in a company. You got great salespeople, you can have pretty much crappy everything else. Now, it won't last if you have crappy everything else, but if you can generate revenue through great salespeople. So I decided to become a great salesperson. Now, I hadn't been reading how to, become a great salesperson, the various books, the various information. So I started reading all about sales, and what different techniques there are, and how to build relationships, and how to cold call, and how to, create lists, and all that stuff. Guess what? I start making over $2 million a year, heading rapidly to $3 million a year. Now, again, I won't brag. I'm just telling you facts. God gets all the glory. I'll brag on him. because, doors opened up for me to step into those things. So now the very first response, and some of you have already clicked off because reading is just like sticking a finger down your throat to a lot of people. They won't change what they're doing other than complain about it louder, right? So for those of you that are still listening, but sitting down to read a book, well, are you aware that most of the learning I did was either through audiobooks or during that fast growth phase, through podcasts that I just had playing while I was at the gym, through YouTube videos, tons of them. Even before YouTube, you would get CDs and stuff, and you just play it while you go on with the rest of your day. Now, I'm not telling you I read every book from the first letter to the last letter in the book. I've become really good over time at skimming, going through it and go, okay, this is something I need to remember. So I'll highlight that sentence or two or that paragraph, and then I can go back through it. So instead of taking a couple weeks in a book that might just grind, I can take maybe 3 or 4 days. I'm on an airplane, or, I got a little bit of downtime, or in my morning routine time, highlight a bunch of stuff, and then, go back and look it over. I got the key points out of that. I call that reading a book. I will give myself a check mark for that. And so eventually what happened was, through God, and through personal self-development, a lot more I've done personally, but I can tell you the most important part was deciding not to just stay like a tree. A tree can't move. A tree can't do anything. It can grow up and it can die. I can move. I'm not getting the results I want. I can start learning more about it and change my behavior. I'm not getting the money I want. I can learn more about it, change a different course and learn different things. So all I'm telling you is, guys, a lot of you have a real opportunity to do something really, really, really special with your life. And if you become a reader and an applier, knowledge without application and action isn't going anywhere. You're just a smart person that really isn't changing. Application, we're going to talk about action in upcoming videos too. But I'll give you 2 books to start with. Number 1, whether you're a believer or not, you really should read the Bible. Some fantastic stories in there, and definitely, like a lot of successful people, they start with Proverbs and Psalms. Great place to start. And then, if you're not a believer, go ahead and start checking out the New Testament. But right now, today, if you've never read Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, it's not just about money, but Think and Grow Rich is a life-changing book. Grab it, change your life. God bless.